how to deal with stress, an interview with Kacey Mcallister, and Fried Dill Pickle Spears. Stick around!
Welcome to Business Edge Radio, the show that gives you tips, tricks, tools, and techniques about how to build a more profitable business, while at the same time creating your perfect lifestyle. It's a show about working less and living more. A few golden nuggets, a little bit of wisdom, and over 35 years of business experience to help you keep your edge. Lifestyle entrepreneur, best-selling author, internationally renowned business speaker, and daddy of three, Mitch Graff brings the heat with actionable techniques for building the business and lifestyle of your dreams. Now your host, Mitch Graff.
What is up, Unleashed Tribe? And welcome to another jam-packed episode of Business Edge Radio, the ultimate brainstorming session for your business and your life. I am your humble and happiness-filled host today, Mitch Graff, and on today's show, we tackle the subjects of stress and adversity, what they are, how to deal with them, and how you can change the way you view the world. My interview today is with someone you will want to get to know a lot better after you hear his story. Kacey Mcallister joins me for an inspiring conversation about life, motivation, challenges, family, and love. Plus, I will review a book called The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber, and I also share with you a delicious recipe for fried dill pickle spears with a honey-BBQ dippin sauce. It will be your new favorite. Stress. It's everywhere. We've either lost our job, someone in our family has been laid off or lost their job, or we know people who no longer have an income. Our businesses have been shut down, either in part or totally, and the future right now is completely unknown. Many businesses will never again open their doors to the public, and many of the ones that are functioning are working on only 6 cylinders with an 8-cylinder engine. They must limit the number of customers they have at any given time, which in turn throttles their potential income, which they need in order to pay their employees, mortgages, utilities, buy products, plus all the benefits that come from having employees. Without revenues, there's less money to keep staff even employed, less money to expand, less money to pay vendors, less money to donate to local nonprofits and charities. Those revenues literally fuel our economy. And without small businesses being fully operational, the amount of anxiety and stress doesn't just happen to a single person. It spreads throughout our entire culture and affects each and every one of us in our own unique and different ways. Many of us can't visit our parents or our grandparents or our children or close friends because of mandates and restrictions. Our kids haven't been able to socialize with friends for months, and distance learning is now something that may be a part of their education for the foreseeable future. Even before we hit the current crisis, having a business was already stressful enough. The stress seems to be a bigger part now of our personal lives, our business lives than ever before. The way I see it, we have 2 choices. We can either look at ourselves as a victim of the circumstances and curl up in a huddled mass in the corner and simply wait for everything to get back to normal, feeling sorry for ourselves that we have challenges that are difficult in front of us. Or we can look at ourselves as an active participant in the solution and look at our current circumstances as an opportunity, even if you have a business that has been impacted severely. There's always a silver lining in anything if you look hard enough and have the proper perspective. Basically, it's a matter of how we choose to look at things, or perspective. One day, a millionaire businessman took his son to the country to show him how the poor folks lived. They spent a few days on a farm with an extremely poor family. After they returned home, the father asked his son what he thought of his experience. "Oh, it was great, Dad," the son replied. "Did you see how poor some people are in this world?" the father asked. "I sure did. I saw that we have a dog, and they have 4. We have a big pool in our backyard. They have a lake and a stream running through theirs that has no end. In our garden, we have fancy imported Italian oil lamps, and they have a sky filled with the stars. Our patio reaches all around to the front porch, and they have the entire horizon. Thank you, Dad, for showing me what true riches really are." Some people think that their value as a human being comes from Working long hours, driving big expensive cars, dropping 50 grand on a vacation, having lots of bling. Others find value in just being present for their kids, in volunteering, in being a great spouse or a partner, or helping others just get through difficult times. Right now, because we don't have the luxury of getting that perfect hug from mom or sitting around the table on a Friday night just laughing with your friends at their corny jokes, we all need to have other ways of dealing with and getting rid of the stress that we feel in our lives. Here's a few tips that will not only alleviate the amount of pressure you feel from everything that is happening, but may also give you a different perspective that we are talking about. Number 1, try to avoid caffeine, alcohol, and nicotine. Avoid or at least reduce your consumption of these things. They're stimulants and will increase your level of stress rather than reduce it. The old saying, "I need a drink," may be true in your brain, but it has the opposite effect of what you actually think. Alcohol is a depressant when taken in large quantities, but acts as a stimulant in small quantities. Therefore, using alcohol as a way to alleviate stress is not ultimately helpful at all. Try swapping out caffeinated and alcoholic drinks for water or herbal teas or diluted natural fruit juices, and aim to keep yourself hydrated, as this will also enable your body to cope better with stresses. Number 2, make sure your diet is well balanced. With all of us hanging around the house a lot more these days, it's so easy to make repeated trips to the cupboard or the snack drawer several times a day and sit there just staring, waiting for the perfect snack to jump out into our arms. I've been known from time to time to grab a few chocolate chips from the bag that we keep in our freezer. With that admission, you should aim to avoid or reduce your intake of refined sugars. I know this is a tough one since it seems that most foods are stuffed full of things that are bad for us and are contained in many manufactured foods, but it can cause energy crashes, which may lead you to feel tired and irritable. In general, try to eat a healthy, well-balanced, and nutritious diet. Number 3, indulge in some sort of physical activity daily. Stressful situations increase the level of stress hormones such as adrenaline and cortisol in your body. These are the fight or flight hormones that evolution has hardwired into our brains and which are designed to protect us from immediate bodily harm when we are under threat. However, stress in the modern age is rarely remedied by a fight or flight response, and so physical exercise can be used as a surrogate to metabolize the excessive stress hormones and restore your body and mind to a calmer, more relaxed state. When you feel stressed and tense, go for a brisk walk, get some fresh air. Try to incorporate some physical activity into your daily routine on a regular basis. I recommend at the beginning of your day, but you can also get it done at lunch or after work. Regular physical activity will also improve the quality of your sleep. So if you're having a tough time getting a full night's rest, getting your body moving during the day will help you fall asleep and stay asleep longer. Exercise doesn't necessarily mean powerlifting at the gym or training for a marathon. Even a short walk around the office or simply standing up to stretch during a break can offer immediate relief in a very stressful situation. Getting your blood moving releases endorphins and can improve your mood almost instantaneously. And speaking of sleep, get more sleep. A lack of proper rest is a significant cause of stress and also interrupts our sleep as thoughts keep running through our heads, stopping us from relaxing enough to even fall asleep. Rather than relying on medications, your aim should be to maximize your relaxation before going to sleep. Make sure that your bedroom is a tranquil oasis with no reminders of the things that are out there in the world. Avoid caffeine during the evening, as well as excess of alcohol if you know that this leads to disturbed sleep patterns. Stop doing any mentally demanding work several hours before going to bed so that you can give your brain some time to calm down. Take a warm bath or read a calming, undemanding book for a few minutes to relax your body, tire your eyes, and help you forget about the things that are worrying you. You should also aim to go to bed at roughly the same time each night so that your mind and body will get used to a predictable bedtime routine. Turn the TV off earlier, dim the lights, give yourself time to relax before going to bed. It may also be the most effective stress buster on your list. When you wake up in the morning, you'll feel rejuvenated and ready to take on the world, whether it be at your office or at your home. Number 4, engage in some relaxing activity. We all have things that we enjoy doing when we aren't working. playing in the dirt in the garden, watching a funny show on TV, hitting some balls up and down the fairway, dropping a line in the lake, reading your favorite magazines. The craziness of life sometimes prevents us from enjoying these activities, but it's vitally important that you make sure to incorporate as many downtime activities into your daily routine as possible. Each day, make it a point to engage in at least one of your favorite hobbies for a minimum of 30 minutes. This will help that stress level go down as well. Number 5, talk to someone. Just talking to someone about how you feel and what's going on in your life can be helpful. Talking can work by either distracting you from your stressful thoughts or releasing some of that built-up tension by just discussing it. Stress can cloud your judgment and prevent you from seeing things clearly. So talking things through with a friend, a work colleague, or even a trained professional can help you find solutions to your stress and put your problems into perspective. Number 6, manage your time. This one really has gotten a lot of people stressed out to the max recently. What used to be a controlled set of activities and duties each day has now turned into a mosh posh of days that just seem to run on, one right after the next. Many people have stopped even using appointment calendars completely or have gotten into the habit of sleeping in much later than typical. I totally understand that our routines have been uprooted and placed into the ground that is completely foreign to us. But that doesn't mean that we need to throw away our time management altogether. For many people, their daily to-do lists have expanded. Others have contracted their list or completely eliminated it. At times, we all feel overburdened by our to-do list, and this is a common cause of stress as well. Make a list of all the things that you need to do, and then put them in an order of genuine priority. Note what tasks you need to do personally and what you can delegate to others. Record which tasks need to be done immediately, next week, next month, or when time allows. By editing what might have started out as an overwhelming and unmanageable task list, you can break it down into a series of smaller, more manageable tasks spread out over a longer period of time, with some tasks removed from the list entirely through delegation. And remember the rule of thumb on lists: no more than 6 items on a list each day. If you typically have lists that run on for pages and pages, this means that you tend to micromanage and you need to let go. Try delegating some of the items, deleting them completely, which in turn will free up your time to invest in more high-valued activities. The old 80-20 principle at work again. Number 7, learn to say no. A common cause of stress today is having too much to do and too little time to do it in. And yet, in this situation, many people will still agree to take on additional responsibilities. Learning to say no to additional or unimportant requests will help you reduce that level of stress and may also help you develop a little more self-confidence. By saying no, you also need to understand why you find it difficult. Many people find it hard because they want to help and are trying to be nice and trying to be liked. For others, it's just a fear of conflict, rejection, or a missed opportunity. Remember that these barriers to saying no are all self-created. You might feel reluctant to respond to requests with a straight no, at least at first. Instead, you can try statements like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, but I can't commit to this right now as I have other priorities at the moment. Now's not a good time as I'm in the middle of a few other projects. I'd love to do this, but..." It all depends on what your overarching goals are for your life, and making sure that the projects and activities that you choose to say yes to play into these goals and the vision you have for your life. Number 8, listen to music. And this is one of my favorites. If you're feeling overwhelmed, try taking a break and listening to some type of relaxing music. And this actually has a positive effect on your brain. It can lower blood pressure, and it also reduces the cortisol. Or, if you're a rocker at heart, even listening to some heart-thumping music will take your mind off of things, even if it's only for a short period of time. Number 9, laugh every single day. Laughter releases endorphins that improve mood and decrease levels of stress-causing hormones, cortisol, and adrenaline. Laughing kind of tricks your nervous system into making you happy. I recommend you seek out funny whenever you can and put yourself in situations that give you permission to let go with one of those belly laughs that get your sides hurting so bad that you nearly pee your pants. I give you the permission. Now, granted, the world itself will still be there tomorrow with all the same sets of problems, the same issues, the same challenges, but what we can do is control how we view the world. how we react to it, and how our own minds and bodies deal with adversity. The glass is either half empty or half full. It's all a matter of perspective. My book review today is on a book that was voted the #1 business book by Inc. 500 CEOs entitled The E-Myth Revisited: Why Most Businesses Don't Work and What to Do About It by Michael Gerber. The E-Myth, which stands for the entrepreneurial myth, is the myth that most people who start small businesses are entrepreneurs. The fatal assumption that an individual who understands the technical work of a business, like a master craftsman that can build a kitchen cabinet blindfolded, can successfully run a business that makes and sells cabinets. Big mistake. This revised and updated edition of the phenomenal bestseller dispels the myths about starting your own business. With years of experience, Gerber points out how common assumptions, expectations, and even technical expertise can actually get in the way of running a successful business. Gerber walks you through the steps in the life of a business, from entrepreneurial infancy through adolescent growing pains to the mature entrepreneurial perspective, and shows how to apply the lessons of franchising to any business, whether or not you have a franchise. And most importantly, Gerber draws the vital, often overlooked distinction between working on your business and working in your business, which is a common theme here on Business Edge Radio. This book tells you how to get your business to run without you. It explains how to get your people to work without your interference. It tells you how to systematize so the business can be replicated over and over again. Plus, it shows you how to do the work that you love rather than the work that you have to do. The E-Myth is that businesses are started by entrepreneurs seeking profit. In actuality, businesses are started by technicians or employees who decide to work for themselves. The problem is they understand the technical work, not the business itself. Gerber explains that we're all composed of 3 different personalities. For your business to succeed, you must play a little bit of each role. Number 1, the entrepreneur, which is a future-focused visionary who pursues opportunities. Number 2 is the manager, a past-focused warrior who plans and organizes. And then number 3, the technician, which is the present-focused worker who concentrates on the task at hand. Most businesses are operated according to what the owner wants, like a place to work freely, not according to what the business needs. If your business depends on you, you don't own a business, you own a job. Think about that for a minute. He discusses how to give your customer the service they want systematically, not personally, and how to create a business whose results are system-dependent rather than people-dependent. Create a system of experts instead of being the expert yourself. Gerber states, don't find a need and fill it, find a perceived need and fill it. This requires knowing your ideal customer psychographics, knowing who your perfect avatar is. Whether you own a business or not, the E-Myth will open your eyes to a whole new perspective on what it takes to be successful at any level. You can find this book as well as many other great reads at powermarketing101.com/hotlist. That's powermarketing101.com/hotlist. Hi there, this is Mitch Graff, the host of Business Edge Radio. Would you do me a couple of very big favors? First, I invite you to subscribe, rate, and review the show on iTunes. This will help other forward thinkers just like you discover the show. Second, I ask that you share the show on your social media platforms. And third, I would love it if you connected with us on social at Unleashed Tribe on Facebook and Instagram, or log on to powermarketing101.com to find more great resources. If you could do this for me, you would be a superhero in my book, and I would be eternally grateful. If you know anything about me, you know that I love my early mornings, and I really love a good cup of fresh roasted coffee. there's nothing better than getting started before the rest of the world with a good cup of joe. That's why I'm so excited to have Mountain Creek Coffee as a partner. The process is so simple. You order, they roast, they ship, you enjoy. They don't roast your beans until an order is placed, which guarantees the absolute freshest coffee that you can get. Check out their artisan dark roast, medium roast, or decaf beans at mtncreekcoffee.com. And when you put in the code EDGE at checkout, you will receive 20% off your first order. I prefer the dark roast because of its full body and bold flavor. You order, they roast, they ship, you enjoy. Log on to mtncreekcoffee.com and enter the code EDGE at checkout, and you will receive a 20% discount off your first order. Pretty cool stuff. Mountain Creek Coffee and Business Edge Radio, a partnership brewed out of the love of coffee. See what I did right there? For all the listeners of Business Edge Radio, I have a special gift for you. I want to give you a free copy of my book, High Voltage Branding, Go From Ordinary to Extraordinary, as my way of saying thank you for being a loyal listener. The book covers the most important elements of how to develop a great brand, build a loyal fan base for your products and services, and ways to identify if your brand is broke. Whether you're an old-timer or have a new business venture, having an impeccable brand is vital to your success. And this book will give you lots to think about. Simply go to powermarketing101.com/free book. That's powermarketing101.com/free book to download your free copy of the book High Voltage Branding, Go From Ordinary to Extraordinary, as my special way of saying thanks for being a fan of the show. My interview today is with one of the most inspirational human beings you will ever meet. From a very early age, he learned that life is meant to be lived, not just survived. And he looks at his life as one big adventure. He has probably done more in his life than most of us do in ours. Through his upbringing and his incredibly optimistic outlook on things, he has found the ability to conquer unimaginable things. Doing hard things has always been a way of life since he was a kid. He's completed a very intense 50-mile mountain hike, made it to the state championship wrestling match, was an Eagle Scout, and has competed in the Spartan race. Well, what is that, you ask? Well, it has obstacles that include a fire jump, climbing under barbed wire, wall climbing, mud crawling, spear throwing, rope jumping, heavy object carry, scaling monkey bars, traversing big walls, log jumps, steep mud climbs, tractor pulls, tire flips, stump balances, and rope swing, among others. And it's 9 miles long. Throughout his life, there has been few, if any, challenges that he was not able to succeed in accomplishing. And he believes that trials and failures make us stronger people. It helps us rise up to a higher plane. If we are never pushed or challenged, we can never obtain our full potential. He's a husband and a father to 5 wonderful children. And you can see him on stages at conventions and seminars all around the world, speaking to people about the power of attitude, overcoming obstacles, and how to deal with adversity. He's an accomplished author and will leave you with a sense of joy after hearing his interview. And oh yeah, did I mention that when he was 6 years old, a semi-trailer ran over him and he lost both of his legs completely?
My life was cut short by a speeding semi-truck when I was 6 years old. Well, in a manner of speaking.
Little Kacey Mcallister, he's 6 years old, and right now he's at Primary Children's Hospital.
A 6-year-old Wyoming boy is clinging to life in a Salt Lake hospital tonight.
Well, Kacey Mcallister lost both his legs when he was just 6 years old.
Kacey darted in front of an oncoming petroleum tanker.
Kacey Mcallister ran in front of an 18-wheeler and miraculously survived.
리틀리그의 정식 야구 선수가 된 케이시 맥컬리스터 군의 이야기는
Kacey Mcallister could have given up when life threw him a curveball. Instead, he became the kind of kid that inspires everyone around him.
It is long past time you met Kacey Mcallister.
During the accident, I lost my legs. I got kind of lucky with the rest of it. I broke an elbow, some teeth got messed up, but when you come right down to it, I survived that accident. The next part probably wasn't going to be so easy. I had to figure out how to survive life. After the accident, the doctors told my mom something that would change my life. They told her not to do stuff for me. If my mom treated me like an invalid, I'd become an invalid. I had to figure out ways to rise up. Even simple things like turning on a light switch or making a sandwich, I had to figure out how to live my life.
We all have complexities in our day-to-day lives and challenges that we must face. But I think that you will be able to literally feel the optimism oozing out of his pores as you listen to our chat. Regardless of what your challenge is, he believes that you too can find a way to rise up. Please enjoy my wide-ranging discussion with the absolutely inspirational Kacey Mcallister. Kacey, welcome to the show.
Oh, glad to be here.
You know, I met you several months ago, and one thing that really impressed me was, I guess there's a bunch of words that came into my mind. One was unbreakable. One was inspirational, overcomer, optimist, survivor. One word that did not enter my mind was disabled. When you were younger, you had the accident, recovered from the accident. But what I want to know is how your mom and dad helped you kind of mold your personality and mold you into who you are today, as far as having that internal optimism inside that you can overcome any obstacle. How did they play a role in your development?
Oh, my parents were amazing. And honestly, it started right away. The doctors, kind of told them, don't be doing stuff for him, and they took that to heart. I mean, the day we got out of the hospital, we went and ran a half-mile little kids race, so there never was there was an adjustment period for sure, like anything, but we didn't let the accident ever stop our lives or in fact change our lives that drastically. We picked up where we left off. We moved on from that challenge and started pushing forward. I mean, within months, I was playing Little League Baseball. Just lost my legs, and yet now I'm playing Little League Baseball.
And how did the other athletes on the team react to you initially?
There's always, whenever I join a new sport or a new group, they take a sec to figure out, they don't know if this is the charity case or, poor little crippled kid. But then after a few seconds, they realize that I'm going to be busting my butt as hard or harder than any of them. And so pretty quick, I just become part of the team.
Absolutely. And that word disability, it kind of has a negative connotation in our culture. It's a very interesting word. We all have disabilities, whether we want to admit it or not. I have a suitcase full of disabilities, things that I've had to overcome in my life and still try to overcome. Tell me how you break that down and how you explain what a disability is when you're talking to groups across the world.
It does have such a negative connotation. I look at those things more as challenges rather than disability, because the disability is final. You are disabled. That's it. That's the end of the story. But an obstacle is there to be overcome. An obstacle is there to challenge us and to make us better. So rather than sitting in our disability, whatever that may be, you said you have them. I just not having legs ain't my only challenge, so we all have these. They're just challenges. They're just obstacles. None of them are permanent. Well, I'm not going to grow my legs back, but the challenges that come from not having legs are not permanent. And so as we look at these challenges in our lives, that's one thing we have to realize, that we have the ability. We don't have the disability. We have the ability to overcome those challenges.
And it sounds like your mom and dad are absolute heroes in your life and probably a lot of other people's lives. What do they do? What did they do when you were younger?
Well, honestly, I grew up in Wyoming till I was about 8, and then we moved to Oregon. But I grew up very much in the era of boys don't cry, you got to be tough, figure it out. Pain is weakness leaving the body. And honestly, that was perfect for me. And I still ascribe to that theory, because not only does it make us physically tough, but it makes us mentally tough. And my mom prescribed to the same thing, just more on the schoolwork and doing chores and getting out and mowing the lawn and doing stuff like that honestly some of the youth today struggle with. And so my parents trained my mental state to a point that I could overcome whatever those challenges that were going to be put in my path.
So you get into high school, you want to play basketball. They tell you can't play basketball, which I know was a bit of a shock because you absolutely loved playing the round ball. And you ended up kind of gravitating towards wrestling, and you did very well. Tell me that story.
Well, I did basketball more as a little kid, and they did tell me no, but me being as stubborn as I am, I found a group that would let me play. I don't accept no for an answer very often. In fact, man, if you tell me no, you better believe I'm going to figure out how to accomplish it. But yeah, I found wrestling when I was in middle school, and I just loved it so much. Honestly, because it was so stinking hard. You know, there had never been another sport that had challenged me and pushed me as much as wrestling. And so I just loved the heck out of it. And by the time I got to high school, I was starting to figure it out because, there's no coach out there that can coach a legless guy, how to wrestle. Nobody knows how to do that. And so by the time I got to high school, I started to figure it out. And, I got this crazy goal in my mind. I wanted to win a state championship. And so for the next 4 years of high school, that was my goal, was to win that state championship. And I worked hard every single day towards that goal. Eventually, I didn't actually achieve it. I took second place in state, but the journey to get there was pretty incredible. And I got right there, so it was worth it.
Well, they say that the success doesn't lie in the destination, but in the journey. And it sounds like that's where your success lied also.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I don't think anybody will ever think less of me. Although it's still a bitter pill for me to swallow losing that last match. It really was the journey. So many people remember me from wrestling, and achieving that final goal, I don't think it really would have changed much of anything.
So then you get out of school, you get to be an adult, and then you got yourself involved in some pretty hardcore physical training regimens. So how old were you when you did your 50-mile hike?
So I did my 50-mile hike when I was 16 years old, when I was in high school, and it was through a wilderness area, big old mountain climbing kind of activity through snow and dust and all that good stuff.
When did you do your first Spartan race? And for the folks that don't know what a Spartan race is, explain what that is, all the different things that are entailed with that.
A Spartan race is about the craziest race you'd imagine. Imagine cross country. So, we're talking hiking the mountains, crazy mountain trails too, not just the compass. So you put one of those with a military obstacle course, and that gives you at least an inkling of what a Spartan race is. Been doing marathons. I'd been doing, I even did some triathlons, a half Ironman, and I was looking for a challenge. I mean, marathons, they were getting easy for me. Not to say they should be easy for everybody, but especially in a race wheelchair, I was finishing them in a couple of hours. And unless there was a wheelchair division, I was usually blowing everybody out of the water. So it wasn't a challenge for me anymore. So one day I was just looking around for challenging races. I got denied some ultra races. They said, no, we don't. They said we don't want to cripple on the course. And so I wasn't able to do some ultra races. And so I found this crazy, insane race called the Spartan race. And my first thought was, okay, this is stupid. How is a legless guy going to be able to get over fire? How is he going to be able to jump fire? How is he going to be able to climb mountains in a wheelchair or get over, whatever these obstacles are? And so I that was my first thought, this is impossible. But then after a few seconds, I realized that the only person stopping me was myself. And so I pretty soon signed up and figured out how to do a Spartan race.
And I can tell you, if you want to watch video of this, you can go to YouTube and just put in Kacey Mcallister, and you can see videos of him actually competing in the race, in the mud things, and up the hills and down the hills and over the walls and everything. Absolutely incredible. The thing is, though, a person with legs would have a hard time imagining going on a 50-mile hike or doing an Ironman or doing a marathon or doing any of those things. What is it inside of you? And I know this has been inside of you since you've been young, but what is it that gives you that ability to say, I'm not going to stop at this obstacle. I'm going to push through it, find a way over it, around it, through it, under it. I'm going to find a way to get through this to the other side. What's it inside of you that gives you that ability?
Well, I've always been insanely stubborn. I mean, even before I lost my legs.
Did you get that from your mom or dad?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I'm a redhead, and redheads are kind of stubborn, so I like to blame it on that. But my parents, I come by my stubbornness rightfully. I mean, my parents were stubborn, and there's plenty of times we butt heads, but it's just because we're so stinking stubborn. Honestly, though, part of that is making the decision, and I've kind of looked at being stubborn, and I made the decision to finish these races. I never start a race thinking, well, we'll see how far I get. The decision's already been made. I will finish the race. I will finish this course. And, and then all that's left is to go out there and do it. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to be easy. In fact, a lot of these races really suck, but I'm stubborn and I'm going to find a way, despite failure, despite pain, despite exhaustion, I'm going to find a way to get through it.
Have you had a big bust, something that you wanted to do in life, whether it be in the business world or the personal world, something that you wanted to do that you set your sights on that you were not able to accomplish?
Oh, yeah, there's been a few things. I mean, right now I've got 5 kids and a wife. And so, my priority is my family. And so, yeah, there's a lot of my business goals that have not been met yet. There's a lot of things I'd love to do, set up and, accomplish that, it may never happen. Even in my athletic world, there's dreams. I want to do an ultra, which is a 30+ mile Spartan race. I attempted one of them, but failed it. And so, yeah, I don't know if I'm ever going to stop dreaming and pushing. I don't know if my bucket list is ever going to be emptied because I keep adding too much stuff to it.
Well, and with the whole situation in the world right now, we're all being forced to follow more rules and be homebound more with our kids and our partners and spouses, which I think is a great thing. There's also some downside to that. We don't have as much time for ourselves. One thing I've noticed talking to people that I know, they're not having their personal hobbies on the front burner anymore. Those are on the back burner because their kids are now on the front burner. They're trying to figure out how to scramble and pivot their businesses, right? Because our business models, all of us, it's all changed. We're doing more meetings with Zoom and on Facebook Live, and we're communicating with people differently than being able to go and give a hug to your neighbor and give a high five to the guy in the street. Everything has changed, and it's going to be quite a while before we get back to the new normal. It's not ever going to go back to the way it was. There's going to be a new normal, and the people that can adjust and pivot and overcome obstacles like we've been talking about, those are the ones that are going to be setting themselves up for success. What advice can you give for people who right now, with everything going on, they feel that their backs are kind of against the wall and they don't see a way out of this? Whether it be a business owner that has had to lay off their employees and they don't know how they're going to get back to so they can hire everybody back and have benefits and buy products and have that one thing called profit that they can report at the end of the year. What advice can you give to people that feel that their backs are against that wall?
Well, I wish I was just, a genius and could solve everybody's problems. But honestly, what we go through is the same thing in a sense, because we all are failing. As you said, it's all changing, and none of us, well, there may be some superstars out there that are crushing it, but right now we're all failing because none of us have had to go through this situation before. And this is the exact same thing as when I lost my legs, or exact same thing as when I started that Spartan race. I had to adapt. I had to change. I had to completely undergo, well, for me, it was a physical change, losing some legs, or a mental change, being able to accomplish those Spartan races. We have to change ourselves. And for the people that change and move forward and push forward, they're going to be okay. Yeah, it might be tough for a bit. Heck, their business might go under. I mean, it happens. But the difference is going to be, there's going to be people that are moving forward and people that are stopping. Once COVID's over and we're all, back to the new normal, whatever that is, there's going to be people that will say, well, I lost everything to COVID, and that's the end of their life. And then there's going to be other people that says, well, I did lose everything to COVID, but now I'm building back my new business, or now I'm building this. So if you stop in your challenges and stop in your problems, you're done. That's where you're going to end. But as we move forward, we will see not only that we have learned, not only that we can be successful again, but we're going to find that we have a much greater capacity to change our world and to change other people's world more than we ever thought we could.
That's right. Who are your inspirations, either growing up or now? Who do you look up to?
Well, you definitely hit it right on the nose. My parents. I've tried to come up with some other, cool, and I take a lot of inspiration from a lot of sources. But to this day, my parents continued to inspire me and to push me, and their influence has always been there. I am who I am. I have the strength and the determination and, frankly, raw stubbornness that I have today because of my parents. They're an incredible example in times of hardships, and they're an incredible example on how to overcome challenges.
Redheaded and stubborn, a great combination, right?
Absolutely.
Back when I had hair, or before I kept it short, I shave it now, but I had a little tinge of red in there as well, and there might be something to that, just that ability, that stick-to-itiveness to not want to quit. And whether it be coloring a picture or planting a garden, you want to make it the best that you can make it. And if it's out of your comfort zone, I've always liked to learn something new, to get out of my comfort zone. And then I find that I have a new comfort zone. It's a bigger layer of the onion. And then I have to push myself even further to get uncomfortable. And it seems to me that's where the magic happens. That's where growth happens, is when you push yourself beyond what your current capabilities are to something new. And then you go, hey, that wasn't that hard. What was I scared about? And the fear overcomes us, right? We become so afraid of the failure. What are people going to think of me if I don't succeed? And if you learn to get those thoughts out of your brain, all of a sudden the world is a whole new thing. And it's all about that perspective that we're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, this last Christmas, I asked my wife for a violin. Now I am severely not talented. I mean, I sung in choir for years, but I wasn't good.
Is this the first instrument that you played, the violin?
Yeah, I mean, I played like trumpet or something for a month in elementary, but I really am not I played a little bit of piano to help with choir, but I didn't have any musical talent for an instrument. And so I got the violin because, instruments scare me. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to learn a new skill. Perfect time to figure something new out. And so I got a violin, and I'm not good by any stretch right now, but I'm working on it. And if we can change our minds to not only just face the challenges that come along, because if we just face the challenges that come along, I don't know if we'll be prepared for them. But if instead we create our own challenges, then we're already going to be in practice. We've already designed the hardship for ourselves to practice on in a very controlled environment. So when those true challenges approach, we're going to be ready for it.
Yeah, self-imposed limitations, right? We put them upon ourselves as opposed to other people putting them on us. Tell me about your wife. And you got 5 kids. What age range are they?
Kids. Yeah, my oldest is 11. Then we adopted one from Ukraine. He's 10. And then goes on down 9, 6, and 3.
How are they dealing with being at home for the last trimester and the whole summer?
Yeah, we're figuring it out. I mean, it's hard. Well, honestly, it's not hard on them. It's hard on me, and especially my wife. You know, I'm out there trying to do my business, and now I'm working for my dad a little bit at his tire shop, helping him out there. But yeah, my wife is having to bear the brunt of it. You know, I mean, and her health isn't great right now, and so we're dealing with a lot of stuff. My wife is pretty amazing to do it. I don't know how she's going to deal with it when school starts back up, but it's she's pretty amazing.
So what's going on in your life right now? What projects do you got going on that you're bearing your head into?
Well, I luckily I got my book finished. That happened about a year and some ago. And I'm really excited about that. That turned out really good, even though I'm awful at writing. But once again, you know, I dug in my heels, I guess, not my heels. But I dug in and got it done, and it's an amazing book. And so I got that, but I'm also reworking my entire business plan. You know, I'm reworking everything I know because, as you said, it's all changed. So I'm in the process of taking my business virtual, you know, not completely, but that's where we're at right now. Taking care of my family, training my kids to be the best kids they can be, and trying to get some exercise in when I can.
One of the industries that is probably going to be gone forever is the world of the big convention. And I used to speak at a lot of conventions where you got 20, 30,000 people. Every hotel room in the city is booked up, and you have thousands of people in rooms and big trade shows. Well, I think a lot of the companies, now that these things have been canceled, they're pulling back, saying, you know what? We can put our sales executives on a Zoom call, in a go-to meeting, on a conference call, and accomplish the same set of goals and objectives that way, as opposed to paying for a car, a hotel, a plane ticket, per diem, paying for all that to go to a city and attend something that is a lot social. I'd say more social than it is actionable. But you can learn, and right now, the amount of people that are switching and pivoting to online learning, they're consuming content like crazy, whether it be in podcast or on YouTube or virtual conferences. You know, I've spoken at a few virtual conferences, people saying, hey, we want you to talk to our members. And then you just put yourself on a webcam and talk to people. I think that's going to be something that's here to stay. And I think that's a very good change, because that allows everybody to have access to really good content without having to get in a plane and go somewhere. They can, as long as they have a computer, whether it be in their hand or on top of their desk, they can have access to phenomenal content from people like yourselves. So tell me where they can find your book.
So my book can be found. It's definitely on Amazon. It's also on my website, which is Rise Up with Kacey. If you do it for my website, I can sign it and have that little extra.
So Rise Up with Kacey, Kacey. Yeah. And talk to me about the Rise Up movement. When was that started? How did you formulate that whole idea, and what's happening with that now?
Well, when I started, because I'm trained as a teacher, and I really wanted a degree that pointed along the same lines as I wanted. I mean, I knew I wanted to be a speaker, but when I was forming my business, we were thinking of the name. And my wife is, well, what about Rise? And I adjusted a little bit to Rise Up. And it embodies everything I'm trying to do, because there's so many challenges in our lives that put us face down in the dirt. But if we rise up, if we overcome those challenges, we're going to be there. There's no limit to how high we can rise. And we'll keep getting those challenges. We'll keep failing. But regardless of that, we will continue to rise up.
Do you have anything new in the future that you want to do or that you're working on once we get out of this funk that we're all in?
I got some crazy challenges lined up. I want to do that ultra, which is a 30-mile race. There's a few mountains I want to climb. The first one I want to do for some reason is Pikes Peak in Colorado. That one just looks like a really fun, right? Crazy mountain to climb. So I want to do that one. Maybe another book in the works. I don't know. There's so many projects. I got to figure out what's going to be the best once all this is over.
Kacey, you're an amazing individual. You absolutely are. You're an inspiration to me and to tens of thousands of people around the world. And I really appreciate you taking the time to share with the audience, Kacey. Thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely. Glad to be here.
Right now, I feel like I want to go run a marathon, don't you? At the very least, I'm inspired to do more with my regular everyday life, with my family, with my businesses, with myself. My biggest takeaway? No obstacle is too big to overcome, and no dream is too small if you set your mind on accomplishing it. Now that you have a smile on your face, time for a quick word from our marketing partners. Hi there, this is Mitch Graff, the host of Business Edge Radio. Would you do me a couple of very big favors? First, I invite you to subscribe, rate, and review the show on iTunes. This will help other forward thinkers just like you discover the show. Second, I ask that you share the show on your social media platforms. And third, I would love it if you connected with us on social at Unleashed Tribe on Facebook and Instagram, or log on to powermarketing101.com to find more great resources. If you could do this for me, you would be a superhero in my book, and I would be eternally grateful. Fans of Business Edge Radio, I have a very special treat for you. As you know, I love barbecuing and making up any excuse to get myself outdoors. And that's why I'm so excited to partner with Barbecue Nation. They make incredible sauces and rubs and spices and meat shredders and grill scrapers and lots more. And they're offering a deal for our listeners. Check out bbqnation.net. And when you place an order for any of their products, you'll receive a 20% discount off your order when you enter the word EDGE at checkout. Looking for a magnet that lists your cooking temperatures or different types of smoking woods? They got that. Need a heavy-duty set of meat shredders for your pulled pork or shredded chicken sliders? They got that too. Or my favorite is their Magic Dust Everything Rub that will spice up just about any dish. Log on to bbqnation.net. That's bbqnation.net today. And when you enter the code EDGE at checkout, you'll receive a 20% discount just because you hang out with us on the show. Barbecue Nation, get your grill on. I bet you have some incredible stories about great customer service you've gotten, and also stories of terrible service you've received over the years. Fans, I have a special invitation for you. I am currently writing a new book titled Customer Service is Dead, giving 6-star service in a 1-star world that will be released later this year. What I'm looking for are your stories and examples of the good, the bad, and the ugly. And if your story is chosen for publication, you will receive a copy from the first printing, as well as your story being read on the air on a future show. Simply send us your story of no more than 500 words to info@powermarketing101.com. That's info@powermarketing101.com by July 31st, and hopefully your story makes it in my new book, Customer Service is Dead, giving 6-star service in a 1-star world. Have fun with it, make it entertaining, and give me your good, bad, and ugly stories about customer service you've received. Give me your best shot and make me proud. We've all heard it said before that the best lessons learned are from the School of Hard Knocks. This prestigious university has some of the best alumni in the world, and the curriculum is more difficult than Stanford Medical School. You can't apply for admission, and you don't get to pick your classes. Well, now you can give the gift of a PhD from this prestigious university. This authentic diploma is printed on the same high-quality paper that the top schools in the world use for their diplomas, and comes with an official gold foil seal that will look great framed in any room. This PhD degree will become the center of conversation. Get one for your spouse, for your boss, for your parent. Give them the gift that money can't buy today. When you place your order at schoolofhardknocks.net, you'll receive a special discount of 20% at checkout when you enter the code EDGE. Once again, 20% off your first order when you use the code EDGE at checkout. Schoolofhardknocks.net. That's schoolofhardknocks.net. Get one for that person in your life who seems to have everything, or heck, get one for yourself. You've earned it. For all the listeners of Business Edge Radio, I have a special gift for you. I want to give you a free copy of my book, High Voltage Branding, Go From Ordinary to Extraordinary, as my way of saying thank you for being a loyal listener. The book covers the most important elements of how to develop a great brand, build a loyal fan base for your products and services, and ways to identify if your brand is broke. Whether you're an old-timer or have a new business venture, having an impeccable brand is vital to your success. And this book will give you lots to think about. Simply go to powermarketing101.com/freebook. That's powermarketing101.com/freebook to download your free copy of the book High Voltage Branding, Go From Ordinary to Extraordinary, as my special way of saying thanks for being a fan of the show.
Time for Cooking Corner with Mitch. Yum.
Welcome to my kitchen, everyone. Today's recipe can be enjoyed for lunch, for dinner, as a snack on game day, or as a movie night appetizer instead of popcorn. Today we are making fried pickle spears with a honey barbecue aioli. We call it dippin' sauce around our house. You know, the first known printed fried pickle recipe was in the Oakland Tribune in 1962, but used sweet pickle slices and pancake mix. Fried dill pickles were popularized in 1963, the next year, at the Duchess Drive-In, located in Atkins, Arkansas. And now you're all a little bit smarter. Step 1, as always, turn on some nice music and grab yourself a cold beverage and join me in the kitchen. Start by adding your oil to a deep frying pan and heat to 375. Then we're going to be making a nice, fluffy, smooth batter. So in a medium-sized bowl, combine half a cup of all-purpose flour, or rice flour, or gluten-free all-in-one flour, 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning, 2 teaspoons of garlic salt, 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, and 3/4 of a cup of water. And be careful not to add more than 3/4 of a cup, otherwise you'll end up with a slurry instead of a batter. Then prepare your dill pickle slices. Drain and dry your pickles on a paper towel. Make sure that they're completely dry so you don't get the oil talking back to you. You want to pat them all the way dry. In a shallow pan, add either some store-bought panko or some handmade panko. What? You don't know how to make panko? Well, you've come to the right place. Genuine panko breadcrumbs are made from a particular kind of white bread without crusts. They're never made from whole wheat bread. Did you know that? But if you want to use whole wheat, feel free. The word panko comes from Japan, and panko is used a lot for light breading in Japanese cuisine. So take a standard loaf of bread, remove the crusts, preheat your oven to 350, then grate your bread by hand, or you can pulse it 1 or 2 times in a food processor. Put the bread onto a baking sheet, either spray it or put some parchment paper down. Bake it at 350 for 5 to 7 minutes, but be careful not to let the panko brown. Remove it from the oven, let it cool, and you can store it in glass jars for an extended period of time. Because panko is lighter, it absorbs less oil and grease, making breaded foods less heavy. Now back to the pickles. In a shallow dish, add your panko. Start adding your dried pickles into the batter, toss them around, dip the pickles in the panko, and start to fry in your heated oil. Continue frying until they're a beautiful golden brown. Now while they're cooling off just a bit, it's time to make your honey barbecue aioli. And remember that aioli is just a fancy name for flavored mayonnaise. In a small bowl, combine 1 cup of mayo, half cup of your favorite barbecue sauce, and 2 tablespoons of melted honey. Give everything a nice stir, and once your pickles have cooled for a few minutes, it's time for you to dig into some fried dill pickles with a tasty honey barbecue dippin' sauce. You can also use ranch, buffalo sauce, garlic sauce, fry sauce, or anything else that tickles your pickle fancy. Give it a try. Let me know how this one turns out. Well, that will do it for this edition of Business Edge Radio. And my parting shot today is this. There's no better than adversity. Every defeat, every heartbreak, every loss contains its own seed, its own lesson on how to improve your performance the next time. Malcolm X. And until next time, this is Mitch Kraft reminding you to live with passion. I'll catch you later.
Thanks for hanging out with Business Edge Radio. If you enjoyed today's show, we invite you to subscribe, rate, and review. Then hop on over to www.mitchgraff.com to get even more meat and potatoes. We also invite you to follow the show at facebook.com/Unleashed Tribe. The most valuable asset that any of us has is our time. And we thank you for choosing to spend some of your precious time with us.